Okay. Oh, I think I automatically started recording. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. Oh, just 1 second to fix some technical details. Bear with us just for 1 second. Thank you. All right, a quick message to my colleagues from ITC. Can you please kindly admit all the people that are going to be coming in the webinar as we progress? On top of that, can you please also mute participants if it's not question and answer session, so that everybody can hear us clearly. Thank you so much. It's not going to be easy. Yeah. Dear participants, whoever has joined us, welcome. And may I kindly ask you to please mute yourselves. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think we should get started. Anya, would you do us the honors?
Of course. Welcome, everyone, to this webinar.
Welcome.
We'd like to just take this opportunity to welcome you. We're really excited to share with you this introductory webinar to the EaP Trade Help Desk platform. We hope that after this webinar, you will feel comfortable navigating the platform and comparing different business opportunities for Azerbaijani businesses, especially in EU markets, but also in other Eastern Area Partnership markets. First, I would like to introduce myself quickly and also let my colleague Adelia introduce herself. My name is Anna Jankowska. I am a market analyst at the International Trade Center, and my job is to collect regulatory information, trade information, and to put it together into digital platforms, and then also to train businesses on how to use this information to be able to inform their business decisions and to help them identify new opportunities to grow their business. I am a Polish national. Unfortunately, I do not speak Azeri, but I'm very happy to be here with you and look forward to this opportunity to tell you a little bit more about the data in this platform. And Adelia will then also show you how to use the platform and give you a first-hand glance at how the information looks and what you can do with it. Adelia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Anya. So my name is Adelia Rashidova. I am from Uzbekistan, and I have Russian roots as well. And I'm working alongside with Anya on the capacity building here at ITC. You might already know me from if you have participated in our capacity building session earlier this year. And we really hope that today's session will be useful for you and the businesses that you're working with. We're going to guide you through to show you basically a little bit, talk about our platform and give you a little bit of a hands-on experience, as well as ask you also to navigate it a little bit. We will do a quick Zoom poll, so we will test your knowledge. And now over to our partner, Aspromo, our focal point in Azerbaijan for the Eastern Partnership Trade Help Desk project. So I pass the floor over to Malik. Malik, please do us the honors.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adelia. Hörmətli həmkarlar, şirkət nümayəndələri və rəhbərləri. Hər birinizi salamlayıram. Bugün Beynəlxalq Ticarət Mərkəzinin layihəsi olan şərq tərəfdaşları ölkələri üçün yaradılmış platforma haqqında məlumat veriləcək. Bu platforma mən sadəcə qısa olaraq məlumat vereyim. Bu platforma özündə bir çox məlumatı əks etdirir. Bu deməli ticarət məlumatlarına dair göstəriciləri əhatə edir, bazar araşdırmalarına dair məlumatları əhatə edir. Həmçinin siz bu platformada ticarət zamanı üzləşə biləcəyiniz bariyerlər haqqında məlumat ala biləcəksiniz və həmçinin tarif və qeyri-tarif bariyerlər nəzərdə tutulub burada. Bunun timsalında hal-hazırda bu platformada məhsul üzrə ixrac ölkələr üzrə ixrac vergilərinə dair də məlumatlar üzərində işlənilir. Yəni bu platformada bu məlumatların olması da nəzərdə tutulub və həmçinin sektorlar üzrə addım-addım ticarət bələdçilisinin gələcəkdə olması da nəzərdə tutulub. Bir sözlə desək, ticarətə dair bir çox məlumatları siz bu ITC həmkarlarının təqdim edəcəyi EaP şərq tərəfdaşları ölkəsi üçün nəzərdə tutulmuş platformada tapa bilərsiniz. Məndən bu qədər və sözü ötürürəm Adeliya xanıma və Anna xanıma. Onlar artıq ətraflı məlumat verəcəklər bu platforma haqqında. Çox sağ olun.
Thank you, Malik, for this overview of the project. Sorry. I would just like to share my screen with you because I have a very brief presentation. I would like to give you a little bit of an overview of the type of information that Malik just referred to, and to give you a sense of why, especially now, we are interested and we feel like this is an important platform, an important tool for Azeri businesses. I hope you are all able to see my screen now. To begin with, we know that it's a relatively difficult or challenging time for the global economy at large. Thanks to the geopolitical conflict, thanks to rising inflation, thanks to decelerating growth across most regions. It's definitely an important time, especially if you live in a small domestic market, to think about how you can find additional opportunities to maintain your income or possibly grow your business, and also how you can diversify your market risks, because possibly if things start to slow down in your home market, you want to be able to compensate that in new places. And what we can see when we look at trade exports from Azerbaijan is that we can see that they're actually quite concentrated. So a significant share of Azeri exports go to Italy and Turkey, and then the third largest trading partner is the Russian Federation. So clearly, there's room to diversify and to encounter new opportunities. And we believe that this platform will help you identify additional markets with export potential or with room for export growth for the top attractive Azeri products. So just to give you a brief glimpse, like right now, this is the situation for Azerbaijan, but we definitely see that there's a considerable amount of growth. According to ITC estimates, there are $126 million worth of additional room for export growth across EU countries in particular. Right now, we can see that Italy is, you can see by the dark yellow circle there in Italy that so far, Azerbaijan has used 54% of the estimated export potential that we estimate by 2027. But the size of each of these bubbles represents the relative, let's say, export potential, or what we consider to be the size of potential exports. And then the smaller, darker circle represents the actual exports. So while you can see that all of these light shaded parts across these different markets, this is where we really see room for additional growth, and it's abundant across all of the different EU markets. So in total, as I said, we estimate that there's almost 126 million per year in additional growth, which would be really significant. So how is it that Azerbaijani businesses can adapt their business plans and really take advantage of these opportunities across markets? We believe that it's especially important to really remain informed about the different changing market conditions and also about the different opportunities, and to really evaluate the opportunities from diverse angles. So what does this mean? First of all, we think it's really important to consider what is the economic attractiveness of the target market, right? So we're going to be looking at what is the actual market size, what is the demand, how quickly has demand been growing over the last 10 years, but we also want to look towards the future. So we're going to look at this forward-looking estimation of export potential. We're going to look both backwards to see how we've performed in these markets, but also forward to see what kind of room for growth do we estimate. And how do we estimate this room for growth? Now, our export potential estimation takes into account three main factors. It takes into account Azerbaijan's global market share in a specific product, or its ability to export something. It takes into account the demand at the national level, or the global import share across each of the target markets in the EU and EaP countries. And it also looks at the strength of the trade relationship between Azerbaijan and each of these countries. And we're also going to control for distance, we're going to control for tariff advantage, we're going to control for all of the quantifiable factors that we can to come up with a benchmark estimate of, let's say, an expected dollar amount of exports per product, per market, per year. So for instance, if we're looking at tomatoes, for instance, from Azerbaijan, how much in tomatoes do we expect that Azerbaijan could export to Germany by 2027 per year? And we would see a specific dollar figure. So this helps us get an idea, looking at how much we're already exporting, of additional room for export growth in the coming years. So what are the other factors that we want to consider? Another factor that we want to consider is how much it's going to cost us to enter those markets. So we're going to look at things like import tariff costs, right? Because when we're exporting our goods to, for instance, the Georgian market, our tomatoes to Georgia, they are going to be normally charged 12% tariff. This is the MFN tariff that is applied to all of the countries that are members of the World Trade Organization, the most favored nation tariff. But whenever there is a preferential trade agreement, then there will be a preferential rate of 0% for Azerbaijani tomatoes, but it will be subject to a specific rule of origin. So it will be for agricultural products most likely wholly obtained, that the tomato must be grown in Azerbaijan to qualify. But for automobile parts, for telephones, for other products, it will be perhaps much more complex. But this gives us an idea of at least how much we can expect to pay in terms of tariffs. But for businesses, more often than not, it's not really the tariffs that are difficult.
I have a second. I have a question.
Sure.
Can you return the previous slide? I didn't understand these indicators clearly. What do you mean? You mean 12% charge will be charged to the Azerbaijan goods? I didn't understand.
It will be charged to Azerbaijani goods only if they don't show the proof of the rule of origin. So 12% is the tariff that's charged to all of the countries that are members of the WTO. So this is the, let's say, the general tariff, yeah? And then because Azerbaijan has a special agreement, there's a rule of origin or a specific rule that it needs to meet, and it needs to show a certificate of origin in order to benefit for 0% for tomatoes or any other product.
Okay. If not, you are the member, you have to pay this personal fee.
There's a specific, there's a special certificate called a certificate of origin. And there's something called a rule of origin, which is like, let's say, the criteria to make sure that this tomato is really coming from Azerbaijan. With a tomato, it's easy, right? But if you have my phone, how would you say that this phone comes from Azerbaijan, right? Like what percentage of the phone's inputs would need to be from Azerbaijan? So this is the idea with rules of origin and tariffs. Preferential tariffs, you can only get the, let's say, the discount or the benefit if you are able to meet the rule of origin and show the certificate of origin.
Okay, I understand.
Adelia is telling me to slow down, so I will do so. Sorry about that. We talked about tariffs, and what I wanted to say is that when we've done business surveys with businesses from around the world, the most common complaint that we hear from them is that the number and the type of regulations that they will find across countries is really, really different. So for instance, there are 24 regulations on the import of a tomato into Georgia. There are 36 different regulations on the import of a tomato into Germany, but there are 102 different regulations to China. So what does this mean for an Azerbaijani exporter of tomatoes? It means that he really needs to understand, she really needs to understand what are these regulations, how stringent are they? And I mean, sometimes the 24 could be more difficult to meet than the 102, but it just means that you need to be really aware, because your ability to sell your tomatoes and get it to different markets depends on understanding and complying with all of these mandatory regulations. So what we're interested in is how much is it going to, how economically attractive are markets, how much is it going to cost us to get there, and can we really make sure that our products qualify with all of the market access conditions and all of the regulatory requirements to enter these markets. So in order to help you in this process, we are working with across ITC tools, but also with local institutions to create the EaP Trade Help Desk. And the idea is really that we want to make this process as simple as humanly possible for you as a business. We want to give you access to the detailed information in just one search so that you can easily compare from one market to another and decide what is the best option for your business. So we launched the EaP Trade Help Desk, or this platform was launched in Azeri just a couple of months ago with my colleagues Adelia and Martin and Paul, who had an amazing time in Baku and really enjoyed working with Azerbaijan. And it's available in Russian, it's available in English, but also each of the national languages. So what is the type of information that it brings together? There are three main modules in this platform. One helps you identify opportunities. So it really brings together the statistical, all of the economic information that we talked about. And another one provides all of the market access details. So it's going to add in the regulations, the taxes, the tariffs, the rules of origin that we discussed. So it's going to bring together all of that detailed information. And the third aspect is something we call a help center. So we recognize that there might be questions that you have that go beyond the statistical regulatory information. So there is a network of agencies in Azerbaijan that will receive your requests should you have any additional questions, or should you have any, let's say, more specialized questions, especially about Azerbaijani procedures, Azerbaijani, but also beyond that. So the idea is that you can easily access information from across many different markets through one search, but you can also get additional help and find the network that you need if you aren't able to find all of the information that you need in order to adapt your business plan. So I think you've heard enough from me. Now my colleague Adelia is going to show you how to use the platform and give you a chance to do so as well. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Anya. Thank you for telling us a little bit of the background of the EaP Trade Help Desk and also the main information we're looking into and why it is important to be aware of all these factors, conducting your market research, targeting new markets for your product. So now we will walk you through the main sections of the portal, and we're going to look at an example that you've just briefly seen on the screen. Now let me share my screen with you. Prepare that. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Here goes nothing. All right. I should be able to see my screen. Yes, great. All right, so I'm going to walk you through the main sections of our portal. You're using an example of exporting fresh tomatoes from Azerbaijan to Georgia. Before we get there, here you see the main page, the main portal page. If you log in, you will be able to access company information and track your inquiry if you submit any request to the help center. I will elaborate on that a little later on. And as Anya mentioned, the website is available in English, also in Russian and Azerbaijani and other EaP languages. So the portal consists of 3 main modules, as Anya briefly explained you. They identify opportunities, market information, and the help center. Now, if you scroll down from the get-go, you will already see information about opportunities and export potential statistics for the whole region. So the perspective for the Eastern Partnership region as a whole. In relation to the EaP region here, you can see realized and unrealized export potential. And if you click here, you will see for the European Union, the total the EaP region has about 7.3 billion of US dollars of unrealized export potential. And particularly Azerbaijan has 125.7 million of unrealized export potential. And now you can directly start here and see explore Azerbaijani opportunities in the region for all the sectors and the sector breakdown, but most of the users will first go to the market information module where they already know the product code, their product that they are exporting. Now let's click here for the market information module. Now, without further ado, let's select our exporting country, Azerbaijan. We will be looking into Georgia. And our product, I already know the HS code, but in case you don't, you can type in the keyword, for example, tomato, and it should give you all the different types. Now we are interested in tomatoes, the fresh or chilled tomatoes, so we click here. It gives us an HS code, which is a harmonized code of 6 digits that is the same across all the countries. So it's 070200. And if we click go, it will give us an overview of the market. So now it will give us all the indicators to analyze the economic attractiveness of exporting tomatoes from Azerbaijan to Georgia. Now, on the left here, you see statistics about Georgia as a global importer. See the total imports in the last year were almost 7 million US dollars. It's number 56 in global imports, so it's not the biggest one. But it's for Azerbaijan, it has been blooming the market recently. As you can see here, even though with the 2% import share that Georgia shares with Azerbaijan, there is still a great amount of export potential calculated for the upcoming years up to 2027. And the export potential is almost 7 million US dollars here. And you see the statistics are speaking for themselves. It has been growing since 2019. And in the past year, the export value was 162,000 US dollars. Now, what an exporter might also need to consider is, of course, how much it will cost them to enter the Georgian market. Now, we can click here on Tariff and Taxes tab. and we see the tariffs that apply. Now here we see that there are MFN duties. As Anya explained earlier, this is this tariff charged to all WTO members, so it will be 12%. However, Azerbaijan and Georgia do share a preferential trade agreement that has been signed many years ago, which gives them an advantage. So it's a 0% tariff for CIS countries. Now, if you scroll down, you can see more details about that. So in order to qualify for the 0% tariff advantage, an exporter needs to prove the origin of the goods. So here you can click to learn more about the certificate of origin and chapter on the rules of origin and read the full text. And we also gather taxes information, value-added taxes, custom clearance fees, and more. Right now, they are available for the EaP countries, but our experts are working on expanding this database. But as Anya mentioned earlier, one of the most stringent things an exporter might face is not only the high tariffs that are sometimes the case, but the regulatory requirements that importing and also exporting markets apply to their products. Now here you can see there is one domestic requirement, which means Azerbaijan applies this requirement on labeling, marking, and packaging of goods towards their own tomatoes exported elsewhere. And here you can see all the other requirements, for example, here, that Georgia applies to imports of these category of goods that we're looking into. For example, here we can see 12 product requirements, and this, if you click further, you can read a little more about the regulation, the type of measure, and you can browse through. You can click on the full text of legislation, etc. So this is, I think, is an SPS measure to ensure consumer health and safety. And also WTO notifications. Here we don't have any yet available, but these are also interesting to look into because they would notify if there has been any changes to the already collected non-tariff measures legislation. So it's good to keep up with those as well. Now, another thing that we might want to look into is the sustainability standards, which are non-obligatory, so it's voluntary sustainability standards. But this especially important for agriculture products, agri-food products. So this might ensure a higher price for your product, and you might be able to, if you comply with those, to you might be able to target niche markets. Especially this is popular in the European Union because it looks at all the things sustainable, all the things ecologically friendly, and so on and so forth. And here, this is provided by one of our many tools, Standards Map. And if you click through, you can read more about a specific standard. And then if you click here, it will redirect you to the Standards Map, basically. And you can see which sectors this particular standard applies for the purpose and also how to comply with that. You can read through more about the compliance assessment, verification, and so on and so forth. Now, I think most of the exporters would be interested in is, of course, business partners. So if you click on the business partners tab here, you can see browse through different trade promotion organizations, trade finance providers, and go through business directory. Now, again, if you are logged in with your account, which is absolutely free for Azerbaijan, and it's universal across all of our tools. So if you have one, you will be able to see information on trade map, export potential map, and especially EaP trade help desk, track your inquiry, for example, and also access the potential partners in trade map. So now I'm logged in, so I will be able to see what are the potential buyers, potential businesses in Georgia that import tomatoes. So here you can see breakdown by sector. You can see number of importing companies in Georgia that might import our tomatoes. And you can see here, they're broken down by product category. Now we're interested in fresh fruits and vegetables. And you can see here we have gathered around 8 companies. And if you click through, you will be able to see their contact information, the website, the phone number, director's name, why not, number of employees, and sometimes there are contact email addresses as well. So this might not be incredibly extensive for certain products, but this might give you a jump start, like an entry point to see potential buyer information. Now, we also encourage you to go through our useful contacts tab. So here you can see more information about the local agencies, any other useful resources, information on exhibition and fairs. Here you see something organized by Ask Promo. You can read more about HS classification, expert procedures, and you have links. Also, you can read about government institutions here, any other relevant agencies, ministry contacts, business organizations, and read through the selected publications. Now, sorry, I made a lot of notes. All right, so in case you would also like to see what are the trading patterns for Azerbaijan with EU and EaP countries and identify other potential products for export that you might be interested in, you can also click to the Identify Opportunities module. So now, you can see on the left side information about the trade performance, and on the right side, you can see information about the export potential. Now here you see in relation from an Eastern Partnership region to another, from all the Eastern Partnership countries towards the other Eastern Partnership countries. Now we're more interested in Azerbaijan and as an exporter. So let's click here, and you can see for all the sectors. This is important to bear in mind that this module gives you information on a sector level at first. So at glance, you can see that the import growth is positive in the past 5 years, is 4%, and you can see unrealized export potential, as well as here on the market perspective below, you can see that the imports are mostly distributed between Ukraine and Georgia, the biggest trading partners within the EaP region for Azerbaijan, and you can see the export potential figures here, as well as the evolution of imports. And a tree map breakdown by different sectors. Now, if you go up and then you change EaP market to the EU region, you can see the same thing, but for the EU region. For example, the slight decrease in import growth in the 5 years, and then a great amount of unrealized potential by 2027. And you can see, as Anya mentioned previously, that the biggest partner for Azerbaijan in the EU is Italy, followed by Germany, Croatia, etc. And you can see in these bubbles the export potential. Now, if you click through, for example, we can choose Poland here, that still has 4.1 million of unrealized potential for Azerbaijani products on all the sectors. Among all the sectors, if you click on Explore the Opportunities, it will give you a breakdown of trade between Azerbaijan and Poland. And then you can click through click through the tree map for export potential for this. For example, we can choose vegetables, as it still has a lot of unrealized potential. And then if you click through this one, it will give you a breakdown by products. Now, we've already looked at the tomatoes. If you click here on cucumbers, it will then lead you to the market information module that we've looked at before. So by clicking, by choosing the Identify Opportunities module, you can look at all the potential, unrealized export potential across all the sectors, and then you can navigate your way through towards the product that you might be interested in, and then see all the other tabs that I've just shown you before. Now, last but not the least is the Help Center module. It might be specifically interesting for you if you if you have any other questions, if you have anything that is still not clear for you on the platform, you can browse through our knowledge database and then find other resources. So here you see all the different definitions. We have a glossary, we have frequently asked questions, we have an HS Finder, other country resources that we've just looked into. And on top of that, one of the most important features here is submitting an inquiry. So here you can access a network of our technical experts that are connected to the platform and are ready to answer all of your questions related to the platform, of course. Now, if you register, again, you will be able to track your inquiry. You do not have to necessarily have an account with us to be able to ask your question. Now here, to actually ask your question, you will have to select a topic, then type in your question, leave your email address, your name, your residence, and then submit an inquiry. And you will be notified via email as soon as your question is answered. Again, if you have a login, you can see at which stage of the process your question is currently. Now, I think that is it for the demonstration of the portal. Now, I will actually let you show me what you've learned from this quick session. And I hope that you can still see my screen. Yes, perfect. Now, I would like you, first of all, I would like my notes in English, if it's possible, Anya. Thank you so much. So what we will do right now is we will look at an example of exporting Azerbaijani shelled hazelnuts, which means they are without a shell, to Italy, as it's one of our biggest trading partners, one of the biggest importers. And you can go to eap.tradehelpdesk.org in English or Azerbaijani as well. Now, if some of my colleagues can type in the link in the chat, that would be great, so you have a quick access. And then you will have to answer these 3 questions. Now, first question is, what is the annual export potential value estimated for Italy's imports of shelled hazelnuts from Azerbaijan? Second question is, what is the tariff of an Italian importer will pay for this Azerbaijani product? And then in which year did Italy import the most of Azerbaijani shelled hazelnuts? Now, the exporting country will be Azerbaijan. The product is 080222 shelled hazelnuts, and the importing market is Italy. Now, I will launch the poll, and I will give you a couple of minutes to answer that. And let's see who has the most correct answer. And then, of course, I'll guide you through the process of finding actually the answers. So. Yes, it's true. Thank you, Martin. Thank you so much. Our interpreter has just corrected us that, yes, this, but I myself confused shelled or unshelled. Like, does it mean shelled that there is a shell? Or, yeah, so yeah, this will be the nuts that are without the shell. But what you need is the product code, mostly 080222. Now, shall we put a timer? All right, you guys will have a minute and 30 seconds to answer that. This is anonymous, so don't be afraid, but it would be great if you don't just guess, but actually go to the platform and find the correct answer. I assure you they're really easy to find, like on the first and other pages.
Adelia, I think last question. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, Adelia, I think the last question which we saw in Azerbaijan language, I think that it was false, translated not correctly, because written there that in which year the Azerbaijan imported nuts from Italy, much more nuts from Italy. I think the question is should be like that. In which year Azerbaijan exported more nuts to Italy? I think.
All right, thank you. Yes, it is possible. Thank you so much for noticing that.
From here, I couldn't see the English version of that question, so that I am.
Yeah.
Please, if you have an opportunity, in order to compare that written there, export or import?
This should be Italy's import from Azerbaijan or
Import.
Azerbaijan export to Italy.
Okay. Import.
Yes.
Then
Yeah, because we're looking at this case as a whole, and Azerbaijan is an exporter.
Export there. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. All right. A couple more seconds, you guys, those who haven't answered yet. Okay. All right, so 20 people answered. That's already really great results. Thank you guys so much for participating. I'll end the poll now. All right, so question number 1. What is the annual export potential value estimated for Italy's imports of shelled hazelnuts from Azerbaijan? Majority answer 24.6 million, which is correct. Congratulations to those who answered correctly. Now, second question. What is the tariff an Italian importer will pay for this product from Azerbaijan? Majority answered 7%, which is incorrect. The correct answer was A, 3.2%. And I will show you later how we find that, don't worry. And then the last question was, in which year did Italy import the most shelled hazelnuts from Azerbaijan? So Italy import from Azerbaijan. And it was 2019, which is absolutely correct. You guys did a really, really good job. Congratulations. You can see the results here on the screen. Now, let me guide you quickly through the way of us finding that on the portal. Let me just exit the presentation. All right, so we go to market information module. We select Azerbaijan as our exporter. We select Italy as an importer. And then the product code was, which was the product code? 080222. I know many of them, but I don't know many of them by heart yet. So here you can see the evolution of imports, and you can see that the export potential is indeed 24.6 million US dollars, so estimated for the 5 years to come until 2027. And then the year where Italy imported the most. We can see here on this beautiful graph, which majority of you guessed correctly. Well, didn't guess, answered correctly, which is $33,921,000 US, which was in 2019. And for the tariffs, this is an MFN duty applied charged to WTO members. This is 3.2%. That is the answer to the second question. So very, very well done, you guys. Thank you so much for participating. We're not over yet. Bear with us. Now let's talk about what is to come for the project. What is next? So for the trade procedures, we are working on mapping them, collecting and disseminating the step-by-step guides that we mentioned previously. This will be the guides on export procedures of selected goods. For Azerbaijan, it's saffron, dried fruits, spirits obtained by distilling fruits, excluding grape wine, to the EU and EaP markets. For the moment, we have finalized preparatory and methodological work. We have established contacts with Customs and AFSA and collected SPS related information. And at the moment, we are collecting other data in progress with the help of actually Irland and Eldars that are on this call. Thank you guys so much for helping us with that. And you should see the information that collected, the finalized guides in the first part of 2023. And regarding non-tariff measure business surveys, as you might already know, all related to the regulatory requirements, the really burdensome process, we have surveys in each and every of the active EaP countries. So for Azerbaijan, we have already interviewed 376 companies, and we will represent the results by sector. And then in the service sector, so that was companies in the goods sector. And then in the service sector, we have interviewed 151 companies, and the results covered three main sectors: selected ICT, tourism, and transport and logistics. And we will hold consultations with business associations and the key stakeholders very shortly. And then you will be able to see the survey results in the first quarter of the next year. So please stay tuned and visit our portal regularly for updates. Now, we are done with our webinar with the theoretical part. And if you guys have any questions and answers, do not hesitate. You can raise your hand or you can type them in chat. We will be happy to answer them for you. Yes, and as we're doing that, I will stop sharing my screen if you don't mind. I will be sharing the presentation with all the registrants as well, just so you know. So you will be able to see the presentation in English and Azerbaijani. We will correct it for you. So as we do this, as we collect questions, I will also kindly ask you to please evaluate our webinar today. I will paste the link in chat. Yes, and sorry, thank you, Anya. I will also be able to share the recording with you. There will be a link to YouTube, and normally you will be able to see the webinar once again, if you wish. You can type your questions in chat for everyone while I'm looking for the evaluation link.
Thank you for your presentation. Really, we get knowledge which road we have to follow. We have learned. Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. Does anyone have any questions? There's no such thing as a stupid question. So if you'd like to repeat anything, if you see anything, it doesn't make sense, like, please let us know. We would love to answer any questions about anything. So please let us know. And you can also reach us afterwards. I'm not sure if you're comfortable in Russian, you can also reach Adelia. She can answer all your questions in Russian, or Irlan can answer all of your questions in Azeri. So you can also contact us after. I see that Orkan Hailzadeh has his name. Sorry. Yes.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for this type of conversation we got here, we got presentation. At first, I want to thank all of you people here. I have a question about this site, about the trade help desk site. I just searched some kind of the products here. If it's so, this only works for Eastern Partnership region, and it works for only food products, right? No food sectors. I can see it, no food sectors here. Am I right?
So Orkan, depending on which part of the site you're looking at, if we look at the market information module, then all products are covered there. So any of the 5,240 products that have a harmonized system classification, or any products that are exported by Azerbaijan, you can find there. If we're looking for identify opportunities, like the first part, that we show the information for the sectors with the 10 sectors with the largest export potential. So according to the forecasts, these are the sectors and the top 10 products per sector that have the highest potential. Services, as you'll notice, are not currently covered because we don't have the same quality of information on services yet, but we hope to get there. For other markets, we can also put in the chat, there is the Global Trade Help Desk. You can find information if you're interested in also other markets, but it won't be in Azerbaijani, unfortunately. We only have it in other languages, but you have it in English or in Russian. But this platform concentrates specifically on EU markets and on EaP markets. So that's the focus of this specific platform. Elchin, you have the floor.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. It was really helpful. I have one question, is that from where the database is taken for this portal, from which sources, and how often this information is going to be renewed?
That's an excellent question. So it depends on the type of data, Elhim. So if we're looking at trade statistics, sorry. So if we're looking at trade statistics, that information comes from national sources, and it also comes from UN Comtrade. And that is updated every year. Some of the information, if you look on Trade Map, which is also a free ITC tool, you can also see monthly data for some countries, but most countries, you can find annual trade data. And the export potential forecasts are updated 2 times per year. So every time the IMF releases a new World Economic Outlook, then we recalculate all of the potential forecasts. And those are, the newest update was just done last month. And then the next one will be around March or April. The tariff information is updated as soon as any country updates the information. So it's automatic. All of the data that's linked within the portal is by API, which means that as soon as the original database at the UN is updated, the information is automatically updated in the EaP Trade Help Desk, because the idea is to have the freshest and the most up-to-date information possible. On regulatory requirements, we update the data every time we have a new country survey. This oftentimes doesn't happen every year. So this is why we include the information on WTO notifications, because those are updated every month, every week. So you'll have, that will be the freshest information available. So once again, It depends a little bit on the type of information, but if you're interested where it comes from within the site, you can see exactly which database the information comes from. The trade statistics come from TradeMap, which takes from UN Comtrade and national statistics and customs offices. The regulatory information comes from ITC, UNCTAD. The tariff information comes from national sources gathered by ITC and the World Trade Organization. So it's really, let's say, a big effort across several organizations to bring this information together. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much for the answer. Then one last question about that. Can we somewhere in the site see when that has been updated, that information has been updated? Is there such kind of information?
So for regulatory information, you will see the date of the survey. And then for the trade statistics, you will see the date behind in parentheses, which year it's for. And the export potential statistics are updated 2 times per year, once in the spring and once in the fall. So that should give you some indication there. It will tell you, at least what year the forecast is for. So right now we're estimating for 2027, and this is an annual figure, an annual export figure. Any other questions by anyone?
Thank you for the answer.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Bye.
Are there any other questions? Please don't be shy.
In case you missed anything, we hopefully will have the recording for you in English and Azerbaijani as well on YouTube. So in case you had any troubles with your connection or couldn't figure out the translation, we will send you the recording. Don't worry.
Thank you.
I just pasted in our emails. So that you can also contact us afterwards. And I will also add in Irlan's email, since in case you feel more comfortable writing in Azerbaijani, he and Eldar are our local project staff on the ground that can also help or that can get back to us if needed. Oh, thank you, Irlan. So thank you so much to everybody for your participation in this webinar. If you have any questions later, please feel free to reach out to us. We are here to help whenever we can. Also, we will once again be sharing the presentation and the recording. So if you have questions in the future, feel free to consult that. And please, if you haven't already done so, take 2 seconds, 2 minutes to just quickly fill out the evaluation.